So last week I started talking to our friend Danny from CTC, and I used to kind of like talk about God and CTC and stuff, but I never walked it out, so nobody, like Charlie, they couldn't have examples to follow through my life, obviously. But now that Charlie and I are set up together, and we bumped into Danny after being transformed by Jesus, he kind of like I talked to him a little bit about Charlie, over Facebook, and then we bumped into him at Walmart.
Wow.
And he's seen Charlie with me, so it kind of confirmed in his heart that this thing is truly happening in us,
That's awesome.
that Jesus is really like stirring up inside of us and leading us to people. And the first thing that just came out of me when I seen him, I just looked up and he was right there with like two of his friends, and I just says, this is a divine encounter, right here. So last Wednesday he wanted to come to Bible studies, but his grandpa got sick and stuff, so yeah, that kind of like just distracted him, threw him off, and it was just really cool because yeah, he told us he wants to come this Wednesday.
Wow, that's awesome.
And, yeah, so we were really excited about that.
I just hope this Wednesday he said he's going to come.
Because I think you guys should do some talking today with me.
Yeah, he said he's going to come this Wednesday, and I just hope that nothing tries to distract him, so you should probably pray about that.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Danny?
Danny Stewart, really good guy.
Sweet. What's CTC?
Career Technology Center.
Okay.
We went to Willow Street together and then to Mount Joy together. All of us in the same school. It was
That's awesome.
just so cool. God set this thing up so that people like Danny can see the transformation in our
That's
lives.
awesome.
Because we spent the time together in school, and we're like, we're bad in school or whatever, and then after that, it's just like, what happened to you guys? Jesus jerked the slack out of us.
That's awesome.
Made us perfect. Is what
Amen.
happened.
More.
So
That's the same encounter that that Charlie had with you when he called you that day.
And he was just in the military, and I guess he got honorably discharged because he was in some heavy stuff, so he got emotionally screwed
Does
up.
that
or whatever.
really? Just son?
Honorably.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he got mentally screwed up
I
a little
see.
bit, and he got sent back, and I feel like he's just trying to find peace right now.
Hmm. Wow.
And that'll happen because war is the absence of peace.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when your mind was never meant to be exposed to everything that it is.
Right.
So when people God created a haven, a Garden of Eden that was perfect, and then he just expand what's perfect. So what God's doing, he's creating the same atmosphere in you guys, which is perfection because you're in Christ Jesus. And then he just expand in you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you three went out somewhere with all the revelation you have right now, you could just keep ministering to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a really good experience for what Colin's seeing right now, because he's seeing how people want, they're pretty sure they want God, but they want to be in Christ Jesus, but they're not strong enough to push past the demonic oppression sometimes. And interestingly enough, demonic oppression is like nothing. But it's just enough that if you're not determined, it's kind of like if Danny or somebody wanted to come here, and then somebody didn't want him coming here, so they could call that person and persuade him with, hey, let's go do this, which would be like really attractive, let's go to a mountain climb, let's, something or like, so the devil will always be doing that. So he has no power, he just has the ability to deceive you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's really happening right now, which is so cool, is the way you guys are not really wavering in what you're doing. You're saying, here's the answer.
More.
The way you're dealing with Mike and some other people, it's It's almost like you have to remember that we don't fight with flesh and blood.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's very easy to get very disappointed and actually almost ready to cut some people off. You know, you say, you know, like I do so much for you and you can't impress them, you know.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, that's what you're called to do.
Wow.
And so you keep doing that and you keep setting an example. And what I've seen is, I don't see where we cut people off. I see where God brings people into an atmosphere to learn and to grow.
Yeah.
And He blesses them with that opportunity. And I don't think He necessarily pulls people out, but I think He continually gives them grace. But if they do not take that opportunity, it's almost better that they leave that atmosphere.
Mm.
So then they have a chance to get more desperate for Him again.
Mm-hmm.
Lukewarm is bad. So when you look at all the people, I mean, like there's a lot of church services that run for about 45 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you sit there and it's very impersonal and it's very non-confronting and anything like that. That's not hard. The devil doesn't care about that, about pulling somebody away from that.
Mm.
Like you can go somewhere 45 minutes and I'm done for the week, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
such a deception that would be all there is.
Right.
But when somebody is pulled into something where the truth is being spoken,
Mm-hmm.
change is going to happen. You're dealing with something that's going to take authority over the work of the devil and to go and do the work of the devil, but also it's going to require that person to make a change because they can't just slip through the cracks. What you do is not a afterthought. It's not a, oh, I might try this. Like the old bumper sticker, try Jesus. You don't try Jesus. Jesus is that you get and you are one in with Christ Jesus. We have a little, I saw in the gift shop, there's this little sign, it is what it is. And people think that's cute and everything. But that goes against everything that Jesus taught.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't what it is. It's what we choose to call it.
Right.
Because we have the power and authority to deal with certain things. Like I think how Charlie excels at his job right now. That is because you had all this awesome ability, and being in Christ Jesus takes off all the limits.
Well,
When I looked at a job you do, I looked at a job Colin does, and no limitations. Dealing with people, like when Colin first started, there were things that he was kind of slow at or didn't have. Now, he's,
yep.
I mean, I used to run circles around.
Mhm.
Now he can do stuff like, simple thing, like barcode and stuff like that, but I used to kid around like the beans. He could bag stuff faster than I could, and he had better eye measurement for it, but now it's like the realm of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is it positions him to be around people, employees and customers, that now he can have the direct
Well,
impact on.
yeah.
Because there's a couple 100,000 people who pass through that place. We don't see all of them out there, but you see a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a time where people are either going to press in more or fall away further.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds weird, but the people who are lukewarm, I believe, are the ones that are going to fall away further.
Mm-hmm.
The people like Mike and people like that who have nothing to fall back on, they're going to have to press in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something you'll be able to tell them. So it is what it is. No, that's a completely irresponsible statement.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so common. It's a, How many times you hear that saying around there?
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like,
I'll tell you the truth.
okay, before I was coming to Foundry and everything, like the girlfriend that I used to be with, that was like her family saying, it is what it is. And I didn't know why, but I never liked to hear it. It never settled well in my spirit. Like, because I was like, is it really? Is it all that it is what you say it is?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a limit.
Yeah, because when you're with Jesus, there's no compromise. It's either you do or you
It is what it is a perfect slogan for the devil, because that means there's nothing you can do.
Hmm.
So let's go sit somewhere, appease God, you know, by,
All we can do is
yeah, all we can do is pray.
don't. That's all?
Yeah. So it comes down to that, and the effectiveness of knowing the truth and then finally making that your foundation
Yeah.
makes everything else.
Yeah.
I made a statement here. Every failure in a person's life is a manifestation of a lie.
Mm-hmm.
So that means every failure could be overcome.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't, it'd be very hard to get a lie past him anymore, or for you guys. Try to just say, hey, you know, you can try to go to Uganda, you can try to go, but don't set your expectations too high. Well, it'd be like, why go?
Yeah.
right.
And the thing is, while you're living here, why do what you do unless you don't do it to a point of excellence? And what's interesting is we're called believers. Okay? We're not called feelers.
Hmm.
That's true.
And everybody checks with themselves how they feel about something.
Yep.
Well, I don't feel like going this morning.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't line up with what you believe.
Mm.
Even doing something like going fishing without a license, in the past that would have been okay. But now it's like, well, wait a second,
Mhm.
that doesn't line up with who I am.
Mhm.
Because it'd be better to trust God for the money to do something right than to compromise and do it wrong. And if we learn to press in to what's available to us, we won't have to compromise.
Mm.
So for me, if I was going to live by my feelings, my life would be a lot different. Because there's times where I don't necessarily feel, my flesh doesn't necessarily feel like doing this.
Mm.
I don't really feel like doing a Bible study or something like that. That means nothing. What? So when do I live according to my flesh?
Right.
Mhm.
Well, my spirit says, yeah, well, this is a job we have to do.
Mm.
As soon as you walk out spiritually what you're called to do, your flesh shuts up and then you just go.
Mm.
Happens over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do is we have a foundation of the spiritual strength. A person that doesn't have that is going to yield to their flesh every time,
Mhm.
which will always compromise your ability.
Mhm.
Mhm.
There's no, you get to the point where compromise just isn't an option, or doing something sloppy, because you've seen too much, experienced too much. The enemy will always attempt to wear you down until you conform to his likeness, and then he will cause you to self-destruct. See, the enemy can't cause you to self-destruct, the enemy will cause you to self-destruct. That's why it's called self-destruct.
Mhm.
Mm.
The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And he does that through deception, so you position yourself to be in a position where you could face death, loss, and destruction.
Mhm.
And you'll be in all the wrong places, you'll be at the wrong place at the right time.
Mm.
Okay? Huh?
That's strong because I've been there. I almost went there the other day.
Yeah. But because of your foundation, even if you have a little slip, you come back and say, whoa.
Yep.
No, but if you're not grounded, what you'll do is you make a slip and you say, what's the matter?
Yep.
Well, no, it does matter because I tasted both sides and I know
Yeah, and that's what my flesh was doing. It's like, what, who cares if you mess up once? Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever. And then I had foundation, I had a brother to talk to and you to talk to. And,
It's good.
Yeah, I kind of had a picture of like, the devil or something walking along the beach with some dynamite, and he tries to walk up to the rock where our houses are built
Mhm.
and tries to like get that dynamite near our house or something, and he tries to like, if we like hit the button for him, then it blows up our foundation, but it's through, because we went out and activated it,
Mhm.
it blew up,
But on its own, it's not going to.
Right, and then I had another revelation of, like, we like plant seeds in people, right? And I picture like planting dynamite in people, and then Jesus blows it up inside of them, totally transforms it.
But now think about it this way. If you had a foundation as big as like the whole property at Hershey Farm, the devil gets on the outskirts and he blows up a little corner, that's not gonna affect your house because yours is in the center.
But you're gonna say, well, I don't want that.
So you're Christ-centered. So before you get your house or your lifestyle, which is referring to, destroyed, yeah, he could cause a little issue over here, and you say, wait a second. You're in the core, so this is your lifestyle, you see a little activity. Say, no, we've been down that road before.
Yeah.
That's a lie, that doesn't work.
Mm.
Because the moment I do that, the moment I fall for a deception, then it takes away, it keeps eroding away at the foundation that you really have peace, joy, and contentment established on.
Yeah.
And people, you can't go for 45 minutes once a week and get established foundation.
No.
I'm not criticizing the church, I'm saying the church is established by the demands of the people.
Yeah,
So I'm not criticizing the church, I'm saying we gotta think differently.
yeah,
You've gotta be in a place where you get the revelation of what you're called to do and what is possible, and then you also are encouraged to walk it out.
yeah.
Not just
Wow.
hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, it's good that you're here, but you have to be able,
Wow, that's awesome.
you have to get in there to walk it out.
Yep.
Because in that non-compromising, in that compromising situation, you go somewhere 45 minutes, an hour, you go through this routine, it's about the same every time. And the shame of it is that there's so many denominations that said they have a year's worth of sermons in a book that they follow. So like on this date, you give it, well,
Right.
that's not Holy Spirit.
Right, it's
Come on.
deceiving because, it touches people that haven't heard it yet and they're like, it's so powerful, But really it's just something that's super simple and they're getting big chunks, but the little chunks that are so important to hear is what's lacking.
And what's really interesting, you don't even hear people talking about being powerful anymore. You just kind of hear like,
Yep.
oh, that was nice, good, have a good day, bye.
Mm.
Whoa, that's not gonna, the cool thing about Jesus, it always says that he ministered in word and deed. He preached it, but then he demonstrated it.
Mm.
When you're not prepared to demonstrate it, you're not gonna teach something that you have to demonstrate.
Oof.
You're gonna only teach compromise and it is what it is sermons, because you don't have the ability to change what it is to what it should be.
Wow.
Because amazingly, that's the whole keys to the kingdom. Right? Matthew 16. Because the whole key, the whole insight, when he says, I'll give you the keys to the kingdom, he's saying, I will give you the revelation of how this works.
Mhm.
You walk in power and authority. So know the kingdom, and whatever you see up here, use it as a measuring stick for what you see down here. And if this doesn't measure up, get it up to that standard.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So the kingdom is within you to change that. So if this doesn't measure up with the kingdom, well, that has to come up. If something's down here that's kind of causing a stronghold and I don't see that activity up there,
Mm-hmm.
I pull that away.
Yep.
The keys to the kingdom it's two revelations. There's a revelation of what should be, and also that you have the responsibility to take care of it.
Wow, that's good.
Two revelations in that one key, okay? And it totally goes against a cute little catchphrase like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That means what I see down here, I have nothing to do to change it, and it's just the thing I have to deal with. So how does that line up with seeing the kingdom? How does that line up with what Jesus said?
Doesn't.
I'll give you the keys to the kingdom. No, you're giving somebody the keys to compromise.
Wow.
See, it is what it is means that there's things that really stink, but oh well, I don't have the time or the motivation to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting about time and motivation, it starts out really small. Compromise always starts small until it turns into a lifestyle.
Mm.
When compromise turns into a lifestyle, it no longer looks like a compromise anymore because everybody's walking in the same compromise and it almost looks like truth. The key to the devil's deception is to make compromise look like an actual way of life.
Mm.
It is what it is. Okay, well that must be a way of life. So if something bad happens, well, it is what it is,
Wow.
can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or the way people make confessions about something, you know that they have no revelation about the responsibility they're called to carry out. So the devil destroys by keeping you from walking out your assignment.
Wow.
If you didn't have revelation of your responsibility of watering the plants, let's say you went away for the week and nobody did what you called to do, everything except the succulents would be dead, okay? So, in that situation, you would not walk away or go away without realizing, wow, I've got to make provisions for somebody to carry on what I do.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening with compromise and with the weakness of the church is the church member can walk away and not feel any need to have themselves replaced because they're not carrying a vital role.
Mm-hmm.
If he walks away from something, there's going to be a huge void. Because not only is he in Christ Jesus, but he's developing such a son,
Wow.
okay? And where the blessing of time comes, how many fights have you and Jen had so far?
Well, we've never had a fight.
Exactly. That's my point. Do you know how much time that saves?
A lot.
A
I
lot.
used to have a lot of fights with my ex.
Really? I can't imagine that, because you're not usually defensive or anything like that, you know? You're so mellow and passive. Oh, argumentative, no. But see, it's really interesting. Some people checked into the motel yesterday, and by the time they hit the front desk to check in, they checked in, everything was wrong. But these people entered in with everything wrong. They were fighting the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So this fight went the whole trip. Okay? Now what they're looking for is they're looking for someone else to become involved in their fight because they're done fighting with each other. They probably provoked each other as far as they can. Now we will provoke other people.
Mm.
Okay?
Wow.
This is the way the devil works. The devil works through stealing people's times by engaging in activities that are so aside from the kingdom of God. Why would there be a fight? Okay? Because the two have become one, okay? And you don't fight with yourself. So what's a fight?
Flesh and blood.
Yeah. And they don't go in that. They walk in the spirit.
Oh, that's good.
Okay? So, if you take a person who maybe should be here this morning but is sleeping, the flesh has a voice so loud that they don't even realize that there is a spiritual awakening. And when somebody's born again, they're a little baby, and you have to treat them that way. You know how Bree is? She's what?
8, 9.
Okay, now when she was like 5, 6, you really had to watch over her.
Mm.
How old's Michael?
My brother? Or Michael? 21.
How old is he? 2 or 3 spiritually?
Yeah, no.
One?
Maybe a day,
Okay.
a day old.
Okay, so when you have a baby that's, right Karen, when you have a baby that's a month old, you don't just, we found this we made a mistake with Warren where we left him alone, with the mulch pile. If a person's physically 1 day old, 1 month old, a year old even, do you expect that person to make the right decision?
No.
Does that person care at all what somebody else goes through? Does that baby care whether it's the middle of the night? No, they want something. Okay. That's the way it is with a baby Christian who's just born again, who has been consumed by the flesh. Now, if they had a really good upbringing, a lot of times it's pretty quick. Like when a lot of your people, people like they're pretty set. They learn the truth and they're in there. Okay. But man, you don't get frustrated with somebody who's new in Christ Jesus. They're a baby, and they're going to do baby things, and you're going to be changing diapers. Okay. And so, in that, sometimes we become very frustrated because we only think where we're at. Okay, and that's
Right.
great. But how old are you? And once you became in Christ Jesus, the amount of time you spent, I think you missed 1 church service so far because somebody's going away and you had to do something. 2 Bible studies a week and church service a week, okay?
The last Bible study, 2 Bible studies ago, I had to talk with my friends.
I wasn't missing it.
I didn't miss it, yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is, here's a person who's a baby who, okay, and now a lot of that was due to you had us, but now you're the same deal, and now people have you.
Wow, that's good.
And so people aren't babies anymore. So here's my deal. You basically turned into an adult within the first couple months. Michael had a really rough life. However, he has a fleet of teachers around you. And you're going to have to drag the person where they got to go sometimes. Because a kid doesn't want to go to school. A lot of times you have to take him to school.
Right.
Okay? So you have to take this person, you have to train them until they start getting the taste for the kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay? Once they understand the kingdom, then you're set.
Yeah. New goers that come here, we don't just say, be here on Sunday and then we just, send them out of here. Like, we try to spend time with that person. And we try to, you know what I mean?
Exactly, Colin, exactly. And that's why an atmosphere like this is so threatening to the enemy.
Right.
Because when they come here, it's basically like either join in and walk it out, or else why would you come here?
Right.
Because here you're going to get taught, trained. I mean, we don't let Charlie on the sidelines. We say, hey, you're in it.
Yeah,
That's
I really
it.
like what you said, train. We don't just teach them, we train them.
Yeah. I think you're at 30, so you can just stop right there because that'll save you a second.
28.
Okay, just cut it off whenever you want.